next speaker is Dr. Reza Sabouri. He is a trial attorney specializing in defense litigation for law enforcement offices and federal state court in Los Angeles. Dr. Sabouri is also founding member of the National Union for Democracy in Iran, which started in 2001. Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Sabouri.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. First, I'd like to take this opportunity to thank Mr. Batmantlevich for inviting National Union for Democracy to this distinguished gathering. National Union for Democracy in Iran is a nonpartisan, nonprofit organization founded in 2001. At the time, myself and a few other young Iranians got together to discuss and ask questions about what was happening to Iran. And basically it started from there. We are primarily a coalition of young Iranian students and professionals who have been working to bring about a national referendum in Iran under international observation, wherein the Iranian people, for themselves, by themselves, will freely select a secular democratic alternative to the Islamic Republic theocracy. Whether that secular democratic government will be a constitutional monarchy, that will be the decision of the Iranian people, as it has been since the beginning of Iranian history, in contrast to a government forced upon them after a military defeat. Our only agenda is to give the people of Iran the opportunity to achieve their right to self-determination through that referendum. Our goals are therefore pretty simple. First, unity and cooperation among a diverse spectrum of different political affiliations and ideologies, both inside and outside of Iran. Second, using that unity to paralyze and defeat the Islamic Republic regime. And third, replacing the regime with a modern, secular, democratic system. Where can I begin? So much has been lost since the inception of the Islamic Republic in February of 1979. Collusion and collaboration, betrayal and hypocrisy have become the order of the day in Iran under the forced Islamic law. The list of tragedies inflicted upon a once prosperous and proud Iran include 8 years of a bloody and intentionally prolonged war with Iraq, hundreds of thousands of political executions, thousands of political prisoners, economic mismanagement, international isolation, millions unemployed, annual double-digit inflation, systematic discrimination against Iranian women, extensive corruption at every level of society, gross violation of human rights, assassination of political opponents, stonings, public executions, national unrest and revolt, soaring crime rates, widespread drug addiction, looting of Iranian national treasures, assistance to terrorist organizations, and now the evaporation of Iranian geographical boundaries. Our beautiful Iranian mothers, wives, daughters, sisters, including our children, have experienced the heaviest casualties from a savage anti-Iranian way of life forced upon Iranians by a non-representative regime of mullahs brought about and defined by murder, lies, greed, hatred, stupidity, and inhumanity. Khomeini, the so-called founder of the anti-Iranian regime of butchers, had exposed his psychotic tendencies in his published writings. Unfortunately, at that time, nobody bothered to read them, and the mass media apparently did not care to truly investigate the pseudo-messiah during the ratings circus show known as the so-called Iranian Revolution. While at that same time, all that was progressive, all that was advanced in Iran was villainized and said to be enjoyed only by an elite few. 26 years later, our civilization is under attack, our culture and history and heritage is misrepresented everywhere, while the truth about Iran remains to be told. The rise of the pseudo-reformist Khatami in 1997 only worked to make things worse and helped to prolong the life of the Islamic Republic for an additional 8 years under the disguise of the smiling, well-groomed mullah who would bring about reform from within the much-hated regime. It's now an undisputed fact that this was simply a soap opera, a facade, orchestrated by the supporters of the regime, inside and outside of Iran, to give the Islamic Republic a more diplomatic face. This way, various financial interests could maintain their deals with the terror government. Meanwhile, as advocates of democracy and civil liberties praised the smiling Mullah Khatami and the minuscule relaxation of a non-Iranian dress code enforced by club-wielding regime mob squads, the media as a whole missed its opportunity to expose the simultaneous increase upon attacks against the most basic of human civil liberties being committed underneath the veil of that phony reform. More significant is the fact that while those minuscule pseudo-reforms were being praised, no one was discussing the great loss of the freedoms, the prosperity, and the advancement that had existed in Iran before 1979. According to official sources in Tehran, in recent years, as a result of a destroyed economy, there has been a 635% increase in the number of teenage girls in prostitution. The magnitude of this statistic conveys how rapidly this form of abuse has grown. In Tehran alone, there are an estimated 84,000 women and girls in prostitution, many of them on the streets, and others in the 250 brothels that reportedly operate in the city. The trade is also international. Thousands of Iranian women and girls have been sold into sexual slavery abroad. The child sex slave trade, also known as white slavery, is one of the most profitable activities in the Islamic Republic today. This criminal trade is not conducted outside the knowledge and participation of the ruling mullahs. Iranian children are commonly sold and sent to countries such as Dubai, Kuwait, and Pakistan in this sex trade. Government officials of the Islamic Republic, including the pseudo-reformists, are directly involved in the buying, selling, and sexual abuse of Iranian women and children. While our Nobel Prize recipient continues to conduct tours of American college campuses to discuss human rights violations against Palestinians and the fantasy of an Islamic framework with democracy in a legal system that considers ladies like herself to be half human, the human rights nightmare of stoning, floggings, and public executions and other anti-Iranian medieval criminal acts by the regime continue systematically to this day. Today, oddly enough, Saudi Arabia is considered a great ally of this country, even though it spawned at least a dozen of the 9/11 hijackers, and even though its government openly advocates the inhumane lifestyle, which in Iran is forced upon Iranians by the Islamic Republic regime. At the same time, Iranians, who are undisputedly the most pro-democratic, the most pro-American population in the region, they are fingerprinted after incoming flights to the United States, even though they're dying every day to bring an end to this Islamic regime. Today, the European Union, headed by Britain and several other nations who supposedly stand for liberty and democracy, still knowingly turn their heads and are playing deaf, dumb, and indifferent to the atrocities committed by the Islamic regime. And that's in favor of continuing their dirty business deals with the mullah mafia. Simply put, perpetuating the existence of the Islamic Republic only serves to keep a progressive, advanced population of Iranians oppressed, addicted, and impoverished as British and European financial interests continue to exploit Iran's vast natural resources with a weak, corrupt, proxy, non-representative Islamic government in place. This is not the first time that history has witnessed such a shameful event. One cannot help but recall the Opium Wars in China and the colonization of India. In the 19th century, concessions made by a then weak, bankrupt, and incompetent Iranian government led to the separation from Iran of former Iranian territories, including present-day Azerbaijan, Georgia, Armenia, Tajikistan, and Persian Afghanistan. Today, the wolves are knocking on our doors again, seeking to take oil-rich Khuzestan. We, the younger generation of Iranians in our 20s and 30s, were either small children or not yet born when our great country fell from its stature as a prosperous, strong, and progressive nation into sheer havoc and chaos on February 11th, 1979. We comprise 70% of the population of Iran. We've been raised on personal computers and the internet, and our world has become much smaller and more connected than that of our parents. We have learned from the mistakes of the past generation and have grown up suffering their consequences. Unlike the previous generation, we are not compelled by blind passion, but by logic and analysis. We have learned from the mistakes of the past and have built on our education. Applying our analysis of the past, we are determined to put our energy behind that which has made our culture great, rather than self-destruction. And that's for the well-being of all Iranians of all walks of life. We are the tomorrow of Iran, and we cannot be ignored or deceived. We have learned to apply logic and analysis rather than be blinded by envy, resentment, and misinformation. Here in the United States, many of us are U.S. citizens, taxpayers, business owners, military personnel, and are proud to include amongst us a candidate for U.S. Congress, the founder and creator of eBay, a 12-year-old medical school genius, world-renowned fashion designers, an Oscar nominee, Olympic athletes, and the head of the NASA Mars Exploration Project. We have made our mark in all aspects of life and have contributed to the science, arts, and education inside and outside of Iran. However, with our accomplishments comes an even greater obligation to teach others the truth about Iran in every sense. We must teach the world that Iranian culture did not begin with and is not defined by Islam, and that there is no such thing and that there's no such thing as democracy within an Islamic theocracy. We must teach the world about the systematic brutality inflicted upon Iranian men, women, and children every day by this criminal regime, and expose all those who continue to support, finance, and conduct business with them. We must expose the Islamic regime lobbyists who continue to misrepresent themselves as the voice of all Iranians to U.S. lawmakers and who seek support for the regime from U.S. government officials. We must teach the world about our rich royal culture and its many contributions to humanity, as well as all of the progress and advancements that existed prior to February 1979. We must remind the world that Iran is the undisputed birthplace of the first Declaration of Human Rights and not the birthplace of terrorism. Most important, we must stand united, regardless of our diversity and differences, as our unity has always been the key to our collective success. Young Iranians will lead the Iran of tomorrow, since the days of the Islamic Republic are numbered. And when that day arrives, we will remember, and history will have recorded, those who stood with us and those who stood by and did nothing. Today, we as young Iranians and old Iranians and Iranians from all walks of life stand united and demand that the truth about what's happening to Iran be told. Iranians will achieve a secular democratic form of government on their own. All we ask for is the moral support of the world at large and nothing more. Secular democratic change will come from within Iran by Iranians. And the de facto representative of the Iranian secular democratic movement is and has been Reza Pahlavi. National Union for Democracy in Iran believes that without a legitimate leadership, there can be no viable secular democratic movement in Iran. As head of our cultural and historical environment, His Majesty Reza Pahlavi is the unifying bridge between all Iranians, to one another, to their rich history, and to their future. The leadership of Reza Pahlavi as a symbol of national unity, progress, integrity, and social justice will guide Iranians to the day of that referendum, where Iranians for themselves, by themselves, will select a democratic alternative to the Islamic Republic regime. Coming together is a start. Working together is progress. Staying together is success. زنده باد ایران زمین، زنده باد ملت ایران پرست. Thank you.